Alright, and welcome to the Daily Space Weather. Looking at the sun and 171 angstroms here, we see 0 sunspots. We see a sudden uptick in the 10.7 centimeter radial flux up to 74 solar flux units. We're going to cover more stuff, including hilarity, hijinks, thrills, chills, and mashing prizes. Here's a 304 angstrom view. We see a massive amount of filamentary activity there in the northwest. Let's zoom in. And there's that filament dance going on. North Pole coronal hole still looking huge. Let's look at more data, but first, let's talk about Patreon. Our paid patrons get our information first. So if you want to be ahead of the curve, become our next patron. Also, you can support our channel via PayPal or their Hemp Lucid campaign. This spaced out campaign is specifically designed for our spaced out viewers. So check that out if you're in the market for CBDs, Hemp Lucid Spaced Out campaign. All of these links are available in the description below our video. And let's get to the real-time solar wind here. You see recent shifts in the phi angle of the BTBZ, which is the top 2 panes. And then looking at the solar wind density, 4.67 protons per cubic centimeter, solar wind speed, 422 kilometers per second. And there's the data from the ACE spacecraft. 10.7 centimeter radial flux is now up above this orange line, up at 74 solar flux units. A sudden increase, and unexpectedly doing so. Let's talk about David Dubine's book, Climate Revolution. What we're looking at here is a graph of CO2 at Mauna Loa versus the Had-Krut-4 temperature anomaly. And we notice the last few years we see the temperature actually dropping despite the carbon dioxide increasing. Now we're going to leave links to this video also below the links to this book also below the video. A lot of interesting information in here, and we are looking to get David on pretty soon in order to discuss the book and plug it and so on. And here's what the link will look like. This is oilseedcrops.org, so check that out. Next, we're going to look at magnetosphere movies, the pressure and the density. And there's 4 hours of density. And here's the pressure. After this, we're going to look at the geospace ground magnetic perturbations. There we see a sudden spike there in the pressure, not reflected in the real-time solar wind. Anyway, here are the ground magnetic perturbations. Delta B, otherwise known as changes in Earth's B field, the magnetic field going through the magnet. And there's 2 hours of data. We do expect to see a spike here, a minor spike at the same time as we saw that pressure spike on the magnetosphere movies. KP index is at 3. Here's the ionosphere movie. Trying to make these videos come out as quickly as possible, folks. We will be back to live streaming eventually. Now, we do see a sudden charge up over the Pacific Ocean here. You can see that the ionosphere right in this area gets up to, I believe, 12, possibly even 13 or 14 megahertz there. So fairly a bit of a sudden charge spike on the ionosphere. And the most current image there at 7:45 Universal Time is looking pretty normal and not particularly anomalous. Some small little variations happening here in the X-ray flux. Otherwise, pretty much flatline here. We still have not seen a B-class flare since July 7th. Electron flux did reach quite high levels yesterday, and we do see some charging hazards, mainly in the Tropic of Capricorn. Here's where stuff is in the solar system. And there's where they'll be in 1 week. It's a gibbous waning in 1 week. Moving on. Relativistic electron levels are still quite high, so expect GPS errors. Do you follow us on Instagram? If not, you may not see quality clips like this, taken from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, the movie that caused me to realize that Benicio del Toro is awesome. Did you see what God just did to us, man? Did you see what God just did to us, man? Did you see what God just did to us, man? Here's the GOES magnetometer, and we see a spike in that too, just in the past couple hours. Here's the Gong 2 data. And welcome to the stable portion of the southern part of the heliospheric current sheet. That's the red part, charged up by the south solar polar field. And there's the last image. Looks like Stereo B's getting some doubled up funky stuff going on there, associated with that active region which produced a sunspot 2748. Again, we have no sunspots, folks. Let me resize this. And there's a Stereo A coronagraph. We do see a plasma plume here reaching out toward Earth. It's not a coronal mass ejection yet, but there is kind of like a sudden uptick in activity there. So no surprise there. We see the 10.7 centimeter radial flux again up to 74, and that is a measure of the outer corona. So if you're looking at this, in the last couple of frames here, you can see this plasma plume, an extended portion of the corona headed out toward Earth. Now, it's not a coronal mass ejection. This is still totally attached to the sun. You can see in the last bit of the movie there, it's kind of growing. And that could be a coronal mass ejection if you want to keep watching this throughout the day. Check out the ISWA site. It's the Integrated Space Weather Analysis. We'll leave links below the video. Here's what's going on above my head. Check out in-the-sky.org if you want to make your own sky map. And let's do the earthquake rundown. At breakneck speeds, 5.1 in Japan, 4.7 in Japan. Right, as tropical systems start to move around. 4.5 at the Fiji Islands. That one is at nearly 500 kilometers depth. Here's a 4.6 at Zambia. Not the most common place for a quake there. South Central Africa. 5.4 at the South Sandwich Islands. That one located very far south and at depth. 144.6 kilometers. 4.2 at Peru, which is my favorite place. Well, Western South America is my favorite place for the likelihood of a 7+ magnitude quake. Here's a 4.4 at Bolivia, and that is right where I would put my warning spot for a 7+ magnitude quake, as they've been seeing deep quakes for weeks and indeed months. 5.1 at China. And for reporting, we thank you. Romanian earthquake at a 4.2 magnitude and at depth. Heads up Dracula for a larger quake at the surface. 4.2 at Argentina. That one also at depth. Heads up Western South America. 4.8 at India. 4.9 at China. 5.2 at the Ocean Triple Junction. A three-way plate boundary there. Another 4.4 at depth at Chile. Here's a 4.5 near the Alaska-Canada border, it looks like. 4.6 at Japan. Moving on to the volcano rundown. Now, Aso. Volcanic ash there, producing a 5,000 foot tall ash plume. That's flight level 5,000, folks. Sanjiang Api, still on the list, still producing a 10,000 foot ash plume. Dukono, explosive activity there, 6,000 foot ash plume. Popocatépetl exploding. Sabancaya exploding. Nevados de Chilean exploding. The final on the list is Nevados de Chilean. That's producing a 14,000 foot ash plume. Please do not pole vault Nevados de Chilean. It could be unhealthful and unwise. Check out the Himawari satellite. They've got great animations of this tropical cyclone here. We'll leave links. There's that tropical cyclone in the West Pacific. And moving on. Check out weather.gov. There are your weather alarming. Here's me trying to learn how to speak English. Here's a scenario on Null School, looking at the western jet streams. The jet streams of the Western Hemisphere. They are all over the place. And we see portions of it actually going the utterly wrong direction right here in the Northwest Atlantic. Here's the eastern world. And you see up here in northern Siberia, we still have jet stream moving the opposite direction of normal, moving east to west, as well as very strong jet streams in the southern hemisphere, extreme meridional jet stream flow, convective forces governing the jet stream in the northern hemisphere, even still. Check out lightningmaps.org to see a nasty convergence zone over the central U.S. We'll get into it in a minute. We're even going to laugh and laugh and laugh at Beto O'Rourke, so stay tuned. And here's the weather radar on windy.com. Sorry, AccuWeather, you've been hooked. You've been pulled from the coverage, AccuWeather, because you changed your weather radar and it looks terrible now. So we're not going to expose our viewers to that horrible looking weather radar. Here is the last hour. And if you are in the way of this system, I would be prepared. Hey, Hannibal, this concrete door is pretty thick, man. I don't know if that's in Missouri or if that's in Illinois. Anyway, there's that weather radar. Peoria, Illinois, you are in the crosshairs. Please have your hard hat and kayak and make sure your house is well grounded. Here's a scenario in the cloud layer. We're looking at the NASA GOES shortwave radar, shortwave satellite rather. Don't say radar, folks. Radar is a ground-based system. Shout out Anomalous Howard. Let us know if the government's obfuscating radar data, or if a mountain's blocking the radar array. Let us know. And here's a close-up of this fairly violent system here. And we're looking at the same times. I would note the Hall current streamers that are in this convergence zone right here. Look at all those parallel lines. If you think those are chemtrails, or if you think they're contrails or ship tracks or anything man-made, I don't know what to tell you. I invite you to leave a comment. We'll try not to laugh too hard. Here's a water vapor map. And let's do a zoom in on that also. And you can see the jet stream dipping down here. This is going to be a persistent thing throughout the day today. This system is just going to keep moving and just keep pummeling everything in its path, as we've got a massive mixture here. Very cold air coming down from Canada. And yeah, that's what you call a classic convergence zone right there. Let's look at even more stuff. Do you understand the distinction between your pack animal and a sinkhole? Well, this is the sinkhole versus, this is the censored versus sinkhole section, which is vulgarity free. And we talk about things like Google and how pathetic of a company it is, and what a pathetic writer of software it is, and about alternatives like DuckDuckGo, the search engine that doesn't track you, and doesn't store your personal information, and doesn't follow you around with ads, and might be on our cycling jersey soon. Do you follow us on Facebook? What about on Gab? We're also on Twitter. And on Minds. Minds.com, the future of social media. Check out our awesome thumbnails. As we approach 500,000 views with only 706 subscribers. If you don't have an account there and you like social media, well, what are you waiting for? What are you using, Facebook? And thanks to our new subscribers and old. Please leave a comment and help our analytics, as Google pays us nothing for this channel and comes up with excuse after excuse for why. Which is why we are on Patreon, because that's our only source of income on this channel. Again, YouTube pays us nothing, so if you want to see the stuff early, open up your moldy wallet, let the moths fly away, and contribute $9.99 a month. You will get the gold membership. Don't join at the $1 level. That level is gone by Halloween. And thanks again, Smash Team, for all your brilliant comments, even your dumb comments. We like them all, and we read every one of them, by the way. Stay tuned for the bonus sections, where we talk about alarming risk discovered for people coming off opioids. Were you aware that you shouldn't just quit opioids cold turkey? Now, some of us do things like that when we realize we're taking opioids that we didn't realize were opioids. As I got hooked back in 2012, I asked the surgeon to not give me opioids. So he gave me Tramadol, an opioid, which I got hooked on about 4 weeks later, wondered why I was getting so enraged by lunchtime, and then quit cold turkey. Now, let's just say vomiting ensued, but within about 24 hours, I was back to normal. People who are less healthy should certainly not suddenly come off of opioids. You need to wean yourself off this stuff the same way you need to wean yourself off of extreme alcohol abuse, benzodiazepine use. Moving on. Bernie's back in the news. Ho, 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 ho! The Climate Nonsense Network, CNN, otherwise known as the Communist News Network. Democratic cattle call ignites New Hampshire primary. Ho, 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 ho! It's Clash of the Titans as Bernie and Elizabeth Warren face off in the Democratic primary. It's going to be exciting, folks. I'm excited. I can't wait to hear what Bernie has to say next. Is he going to be talking about how we don't have to necessarily have a choice of 27 different underarm spray deodorants or a choice of 18 pairs of sneakers in this country while children are hungry? I'm not sure. But I'm also super excited about Beto. Whoa, Beto. Oh, Beto now. Now, Beto's so woke. Beto's like totally woke, which is why he doesn't wear a tie and why he's got this hat on. He's like one of you, man. He's totally one of you. He totally can bust out a kickflip down a 6-7 stair flight. And I mean, Beto is as woke as can be. Beto has zero chance of winning the primary. But he's going to be writing books and appearing on CNN as a contributor very soon as a former presidential candidate. Whoa, Beto. Oh, man. Anyway, Beto's calling for additional censorship by big tech. Oh, Beto. Oh, you poor guy. The campaign made its plea in letters to the companies after a false claim spread on social media this week that the gunman responsible for the August 31st mass shooting had a sticker supporting O'Rourke's candidacy on his trunk. Oh, yeah. I guess it was fake news, or according to Beto. According to Beto, it was fake news, man. Fake news, man. Listen to my music. It's awesome. I can totally play guitar. You got to hear the guitar stylings of Beto. It's awesome. In better news, check out the fact that this is going to be back up to 74. 10.7 centimeter radial flux back up to 74 solar flux units. And for that, we thank you, Sun. Anyway, we are out of here during this cycle 24 solar minimum. Not a lot of fields going on in the Sun there. A little anomaly right here. It looks like some plasma created some kind of a magnetogram anomaly there. Nothing to write home about. No really organized fields there. Let's zoom in on the north. No organized fields whatsoever. Here's the south, colorized magnetogram. And it's about that time, folks. Remember, when you're staring at the sun, don't drink. And if you drink, stare at the sun anyway. Just don't drive. Seriously, don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.